I'd already made the choice when I made that cry out to God. Yeah, so I mean, that's how I begin to go through Teen Challenge. Now, the first times of going through Teen Challenge were not simple. I still struggled. I still used drugs here and there. I didn't tell you, but actually, so that was Thursday. So Sunday, I gave my life to Christ. That was the 14th. I remember the guy that taught me how to smoke weed was in church that Sunday. Now, this guy came looking for me. He was looking for me for a long time. So I remember at the end of our conversation, I tell him, do you have a joint? So, I mean, it was a struggle. I was still going through this phase of struggling. And that took me about 3 months to fully clean up and fully devote to God. And I'm so thankful that I had staff around me to understand that it was a struggle for me. And it wasn't going to end in one day. Yeah, I mean, there's some people who have done that in one day, who have been stronger addicts than me. So maybe I just struggled with decision things and phases here and there. But once I was off for good. That there was no turning back. And I remember I just led a journey that was totally different. In 4 months, I was asked to head the entire home. By then, we used to call them home presidents. I was the home president at 4 months till I finished the program. Well, for me personally, 1 year was not enough. I actually I had to come back to Teen Challenge to do internship, and I thank God I was even given the opportunity to work as staff. Because through all that process, I was learning, I was growing, I was still getting myself equipped. I tell you the truth, yes, I'd taken a strong journey, and maybe I was never going to come back to drugs. I would not be where I am today if I actually didn't come back and work and still continue to go through the mentorship I was going through indirectly at Teen Challenge. So really 1 year is not enough. But it's a great foundation, and if we can all look at it as a build-up and then know that it's from that point on forward, it never stops. It's just the beginning, and then you continue to build on that. You can just continue to build a life. And so then the more the foundation is made strong, then the more firm you are. Yeah, I mean, I've not been at Teen Challenge for the last 2 years, and I feel more firm. I am strong enough. My foundation in the Lord grew even much stronger. But, like I said, if I was cut off from Teen Challenge 1 year after my rehabilitation, I don't know where I would be. Maybe back to drugs, because there've been some serious things I've had to deal with, and if I didn't have that family of people around me. So yeah, 1 year is simply just a foundation build-up. There's really much more needed after that 1 year. So it's not enough. So if someone who is debating, should it be 6 months, 3 months? I mean, if 1 year is not enough, I don't know what you're thinking about. Yeah, like 6 months. I was struggling at 6 months, serious struggling. Yeah, 3 months I was still using drugs in rehabilitation. Yeah, so it's definitely a short time. Yeah. Well, for me, fatherhood was like how most people understand fatherhood right now. I have a father, not from a place of where I have a loving father, I have a caring father, I have a father who is always there for me. He will never leave me. I know my father would fight for me. I know he would do anything for me. So for me, it was all the opposite. All I knew is I just had a man in my life who was introduced to me as my father, and that's how I received him. So that doesn't leave me anywhere outside of a child growing up in a fatherless generation. And for me, that actually, for the most part, really contributed to the whole addiction and the low self-esteem, that the person that I am, who was not me, who tried to find identity in so many things. I mean, besides just my father paying for my school fees, there was no any other relationship I had with my father. There was nothing outside of that. Because even just to evaluate my reports, maybe twice, if I can remember, for all the time as in school. So now, and because of that bit of a stretch in relationship, even when I started to struggle as a teenager, he didn't understand. He could not relate to me because there was no relationship. And there was a huge split. I remember this one time, my father was called at school. I was actually given a suspension letter. And I took it to my stepmother. My stepmother gave it to my father. And my father took me to school. And I'm telling you, I was thoroughly beaten. Seriously beaten. And yes, I was stubborn. Now, this time around, they were beating me for no reason, for a crime I didn't commit. I was just found in the dormitory, sleeping there. And then someone claimed that they had stolen, I think, their biscuits or their shoes. I don't even remember. So my father takes me back to school, and my father beats me so much, so bad. And so anyways, I was still taken back home, and he combines all his family members, and they come with huge canes, and they beat me seriously, thoroughly. But this was just beyond beating. This was torture, because I remember they were not just beating the back, it was everywhere. Like after that beating, I had scars all over my body. Like my face had all these bruises and swollen everywhere. Like they were using wood off the bed, like peeling wood off the bed and hitting me with it. So, I mean, it was a very disconnection, and actually that point really disconnected me and my father even much more. Because one is that I really felt betrayed. He didn't get to listen. Actually, he didn't trust me, because I told him the truth. He didn't trust the truth. I told him. But thank God later on we got to reconcile that after Teen Challenge. I remember one day I was in the kitchen preparing something. So he came into the kitchen. He actually found me crying. Yeah, because so he asked me, why are you crying? I told him that the memory of how I was beaten has never left my mind. This is about 4 years later. I tell him the memory of how, and I've never felt safe around you. I've never felt safe around any family member. So this is like a year after Teen Challenge, and so he's like, actually, tell me the story. Tell me the real story. So I told him the story. He's like, you're sure I'm not lying, because you've kept telling the same story from that and until now. I told him, because it's the truth and it never changes. It will still be the same even when I'm old and about to die. So he became a bit emotional. He said, I'm sorry. I told him it's okay. So we hugged, and yeah. So, and I remember that was when I really healed. Like every time I would talk about that story before that point, I would be crying. Like right now, I would be teary and crying, because I'd never really healed from that moment. Yeah. So, but I thank God that through Teen Challenge, and God started to bring father figures in my life that have played a huge role in helping me understand fatherhood, helping me know that actually a father can be loving, a father can be a point of security and not a point of harm. A father can be a point of going back to when, like, just to be open with and not think about how is he going to think about this, is he going to punish me, is he... like a father can be a place of hiding, like a hiding place. And for me, I remember like one of the things, and to this day, this is still one of my strongest factors of recovery, is finding out God as a father. My goodness, that was so recovering. I remember even when I struggled with drugs, I would kneel down on my knees to pray because I knew God had given my life to Christ. And I'm telling you, God would comfort me. This is me high on a drug, and I would kneel down to pray, and God would comfort me, and they would tell me, do not condemn yourself, for there is no condemnation for those who are called. And I'm telling you, that would bring such a relief, and I would not want to smoke the following day or the other day or the other day. And I remember all throughout, even when there was any temptation to go back, I never wanted to lose my relationship with my Father, God. And for that, I always just left everything. Because even when my family, after I went back home and they had to tell me, okay, now Teen Challenge has done its job, but you're a Muslim, you have to remember that. I remember standing up and I tell them, you know, for me this is just beyond just the religion. I know God. I have a relationship with God, and I could not trade that for anything. Like, I could actually trade my life. Like, if it had to be life or God, I would choose God. And I remember even when I was threatened to be thrown out, which was actually a decision that was taken to not have a family name, which was also something I was told. I kept going big for Christ. I remember when we reached a point of compromise, they said, okay, you can go to church, but make sure you don't become a pastor. and I'm now a pastor. So my relationship with God has really helped to heal that bracket of fatherhood. And as a father-to-be, I'm extremely excited. God has taught me how to be a husband. Yeah, I remember when I was, before I approached my wife, I went to God and prayed and asked God, God, this is your daughter, please give her to me. And God gave her to me, and I've been, so that journey just kept going on, like, God, teach me how to love your daughter, like the way you love her. And God has taught me, He's helped me. I'm not perfect, but at least I am better than I could have been. Yeah, and I'm excited about the journey of fatherhood. I'm very excited. In 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks maximum, yeah, I will have my bouncing baby boy here. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Yeah. What I would really tell them is that, you see, life is a series of decisions. And to really be honest, we are all where we are because of the decisions we make. Now, yes, my father didn't play his part. I could still choose to follow my father's decisions and make those same decisions for myself, and choose not to be an amazing father for my child. I remember when my wife, when we confirmed that she had conceived, I told her, all the hospital appointments are mine. Yeah, I will be in every doctor's appointment. Actually, there have been so many times when the doctor asks questions and, like, to my wife, how she's feeling, and it's me responding to those questions, because I'm literally like going through this season with her, and it's like I'm pregnant also. Yeah, because we go all through all these things together. When she's not feeling well, I'm able to dissect and things like that. Those are decisions I'm making for myself, to be there for my family. Now, I didn't even have to learn this from someone, didn't have to see someone do this. I just chose to become a better father, read books, studied, did all these things, saw what people were doing, and I chose the better decision. And for any father there, maybe the excuse could be, I didn't have a father, no one fathered me, things like that. Or the excuse could be, I don't have the money, and all these things, or time has gone. The thing is that, let me actually just give you a little bit of statistics to make my point more clear. 90% of all homeless children, street children on the street, are are coming from fatherless families and homes. Now, I found this on the Luzira website. Yeah. Now, Uganda is a young country. 70 plus of our population are 35 and below. Now, it says that 85% of all youth in prison, in Luzira prison, 85% come from a fatherless home. 85%. In other words, why don't you just program it in your mind that, because Luzira is piled up with young people. Yeah, because the percentages of young people, the youth, go to literally 90%, like below the age of 35, yeah, of combined in Uganda. Now, in other words, most criminals are coming from fatherless homes. Now, to not sound so dramatic, you could read these statistics online, yes, just such statistics about fatherlessness. But this is it, is that the devil knows a weapon to destroy a generation. And he knows that if I want to destroy a generation, it's not through destroying women. It's not through destroying children. It's through destroying men. If you can destroy men, a whole generation has been wasted. And my message for any father out there, any father-to-be, any boy child out there, is that regardless of whichever circumstances you grew up in or you find yourself in, you can choose to be a father. You can make a decision to change that about yourself and about the generation ahead of you. And I'm telling you, look at fathers around you. Look at families that have had fathers in those families, and loving fathers, and people that care, people that are supportive. Like, I'm talking about men that are in those families, godly men that are supportive. Because even in an ungodly family, yeah, if a father is supportive and things, you just see a difference. Yet it's an ungodly. Now, how much more if it's a godly family? It would totally be such a radical transformation. Now, watch those children growing up. See what those children will turn out to be. And I'm telling you, I've watched some of those families, and these children, they're turning out to be the great citizens in this country. Yeah, and these parents are like, they are so happy, and they are growing in their old age, knowing that they raise such a generation of children who love God, who are literally taking on the same practices. And the opposite is true. Yeah, where there is no father, or where that father is not actively involved, we are seeing criminals. We are seeing those kids being killed at a young age. We are seeing dropouts of schools. We are seeing all these different issues. And definitely, I know any father out there would want the very best for their family. And just to choose to spend time and prioritize them over the money, over all these things that we keep prioritizing before them, makes a huge difference. Yeah, and even if you left them nothing, but you left them your heart, just rest assured that that heart transcedes into the following generation, and over and over and over, and there is a legacy built in that. Not the money legacy, not the wealth legacy, not the power, but just the legacy that there is a family lineage that is burning for Christ, that is going up as sane citizens. They understand true values. And so anyways, bottom line is that it's worthwhile. It's a generational investment. It's not just the money today, which children will sell tomorrow if they're not raised in the proper way. This is a lifetime investment that any father out there could take on.